This video is going to show you a god roll craft on the Calus mini tool, as you just saw the clip just before this, of a little showcase of the weapon. I can get into sort of what perks you want to choose when you do get your 5 red border weapons. This is going to be a PVE god roll setup, not PvP. You can go the PvP route for PvP players, but this is mainly for PvE. Also, just note that the stats and the barrels and the mag options, all that stuff that I went with, just bear in mind that's my preference, that's my play style. If you've chose a very similar gun to me, but you've had a different mag perk, that's you. I respect your preferences and your play styles, but just know that I'm not going to change just because you've said I use fluted barrel or whatever. I'm still going to run what I'm running right now, right? I'll respect what you're using. Just know that people have different play styles. Everyone's a little different in variations on guns. It also depends on the platform you play, so just know that first of all, right? But I can actually go into the reasons why I chose each thing in the gun. So I'll go to the glaive, we'll go to reshape, just so that I can show you what's on the gun. So Calus mini tool, I'll just tell you what I have on it first. So enhanced intrinsic plus 10 range. Full bore, flared magwell, enhanced threat detector, enhanced incandescent. So before you even craft this weapon, you need to understand the stats and how it works with this particular weapon, how the stats influence this particular type of weapon. So first you need to compare it or look at what it is. It's a 900 RPM SMG. Now from past experience, we know that 900 RPM SMGs are good. Funnel web, recluse, stuff like that. Very good in PvE. It's the sweet spot, the best archetype for PvE. But you also need to look at the frame of the weapon. So what's the frame of this weapon? It states Midas Synergy, but if you to peel that back, forget about that because you're not using Midas multi-tool in PvE. Just think of it as a lightweight frame SMG. It states here, superb handling, move faster with this lightweight weapon equipped. This means this is basically giving you handling, the handling stat for free. So I'll go through the stats, what they do. Impact cannot be influenced, that's what it is. It's linked to the archetype. Range increases the effective range stat of this weapon. Important on SMGs because they are close quarter weapons. So the more range you have, you're getting more damage at a longer distance. And it could be really handy that. So range is an important stat on SMGs in my opinion. Stability. So this is effect and recoil. Now, depending on what platform you play, depends on how much you want to build into this stat. I didn't because I'm on PS5. If you're on PS5 or next gen Xbox or PC, I don't recommend that you spec for stability because recoil is different now to what it used to be on PS4. Now, if you're still playing PS4 on last gen Xbox, the recoil's wildly more difficult to handle. I know this from experience because I used to play PS4. If you don't believe me, I actually have a video comparing PS4, PS5 recoil. And there's a huge difference between the two. I don't side-by-side comparison. It's an actual thing. If you don't believe me, I can give you a link. I done it years ago when PS5 first came out. Recoil's different on next-gen consoles. So I don't spec for stability. I don't need it. Right. The handling stat, the speed with which the weapon can be readied and aimed. As I said, this is already being given by the frame, so you don't need to spec for this. But again, you can if you're on back-end consoles with different barrels. If you want, reload is a very important stat for SMGs. Probably the most important stat, I would say, because you're always reloading. This chews through ammo, it's 37. It's actually really good ammo for this type. So now you understand the stats, now you know why I've chose what I've chose. So I've went for a balanced SMG between reload and range. The 55 range stat and 46 reload speed. I believe this to be a good balance of what I like. Right? Now, it depends on which way you go with it. If you don't have a reload perk on, say you went the enhanced unrelenting, you would lose reload. It won't affect stats, but it'll affect in-game stuff. Because threat detector greatly increases reload stability and handling. It gives you everything actually, which is actually really good. But the threat detector is going to help you out really because it's a close quarter weapon. You're going to get threat detector proccing all the time, which gives you that really quick reload, which is what you want on this SMG to get back in the fight as soon as you can, right? But if you did go unrelenting, that means that you need to spec more reload. So this would have to be plus 10 reload. You'd have to go plus 10 reload, which means you lose 10 range there, and go that route with it. So you would lose range at the cost of a better reload with health regen, but the health regen from Unrelenting isn't good enough for me to say that I'm going to use it over Threat Detector. I believe Threat Detector to be the better perk because it's neutral. I can use it on all the classes and I'm good with it. Whereas with Unrelenting, I'm not going to get as good reload and I'll have less range, and I don't want that. As I said, Unrelenting's a good perk. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying it's not as good. I don't think it's as good as people are making out for this particular weapon. So that's why I went with Threat Detector. The barrels, so we went with the highest range stat you can go with on the barrel, which is full bore. As I said, if you're on a different console, maybe fluted barrel would be good to you because you get that stability and handling, I guess. So, you know, it would be really good, but as I said, I didn't need to spec for that. I just went for the range. I'm very interested in getting a high range. Now the mag option. So none of these sort of really matter. Alloy mags, no, I wouldn't go with that. I mean, the only options really are tac mag. I can see tac mag being all right, but you can see I'm getting 4 less. And I've only got 1 more bullet with tac mag. That is ridiculous. I've just noticed. So tac mag, yeah, but you're getting less range overall. Rather have flared magwell, get more reload, right? So flared magwell's better than that. But what might be better or on par is accurized rounds. Accurized rounds gives me another plus 10 range, right? So I'm 65, but look at the reload stat. This is what I'm not liking. It's too low. If you want to go that route, you can, all right? But I think a better balance for me would have been the flared. So I'm just giving you the other options why I chose what I chose. And now per column 1, right? I'll just tell you why I didn't pick what I picked. So slideways, we don't pick it because it doesn't reload enough of your ammo. This is only good on special weapons. It's not good on primaries. Air Assault is PvP based. Moving Target is PvP based. Grave Robber is good if you're on a Titan, but if you're not on a Titan, it's not as good. I guess it's alright on a Hunter as well. Yeah, it's good, but I want more neutral stuff so that I'm good on Arc 3.0, Void 3.0, Soul 3.0, Stasis, whatever you can think of. I would rather just have my gun have a reload perk built into it, and that's why I went with the Threat Detector. If you want to go Grave Robber and you main mini hammer, the throwing a hammer on the Solar Titan, then sure, go on it. But just remember though, you can't keep switching these perks out. It's going to cost you 2k and an Ascendant Alloy each time you swap. So you got to commit to what you want. I just went with Threat Detector. So the final column, right? So we got Incandescent, of course. So this, when you defeat a target, it spreads Scorch to nearby enemies, right? But the more powerful the combatant, the larger the radius and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going on with Incandescent, so I can't really tell you all about it in this video alone. But obviously, that's what we go with, and we can enhance that with a build, which I'll show you a quick build I put together. So other perks why I didn't go for them: Disruption Break. There's no barrier SMG, so I'm not going to go with this season. Surrounded is second best slot in slot. The second best perk in slot because it's got a damage bonus, very good, but Incandescent is so good. You might maybe want to craft 2 of these. I don't know. Have a surrounding one. You could do that. I could totally do that. It's whether I want to and I'm not sure. But surrounding is very good and I do really rate this perk. But I think Incandescent's still better than surrounded. Feeding Frenzy is pointless because you already have a reload perk. Then we've got Eye of the Storm PvP, Tap the Trigger, which is PvP. So none of that stuff matters PvE wise, alright? So that's why I chose what I chose. In terms of the build that you can synergize with this, so I'm just going to show you a quick build. Now I literally put this together in a minute. I put it together in 60 seconds, sat in orbit, just quickly looked at it. So if there's some things I've missed out of it, I've missed out of it. I'm not too bothered, but I'm just here to show you a couple of things that enhance it. So a couple of tips. It's got excess, so when you have a full super, you'll get increased strength and discipline. It's quite good. It's quite decent actually. You can really spam your nade and your melee ability quite a lot. Decent on a Warlock, decent on all of them to be honest. So this is a very good origin perk. Minor spec is very good on this weapon because it interacts with Incandescent, which means that when the enemies are taking Scorch damage, the tick damage is slightly more than what it would be without. Depends what you're doing. If there's a lot of mages, go major spec. If you're doing it more on ads, then go minor spec. I wouldn't recommend backup mag though. That's a huge, big no-no because you're only getting 4 bullets. That's just not good enough. in my eyes. So I would say minor spec's going to be working more than any other mods. So minor spec. So that's what I'll go with. Dragonfly spec doesn't work as opposed to what people said about it. There's some rumors. I don't believe it works. I've read on Reddit that it doesn't work, and so I didn't go with that. So that's one little thing. The build itself that you can synergize on a Warlock, Dawn Chorus, so improve Scorch. This is your Scorch build for this season with the Warlock, right? I know it's got the Daybreak build in it, but just focusing on this bit, your Scorch effects deal more damage and you gain a small amount of million each time your Scorch effects damage your target, which is all the time with Incandescent. So you can go on here and then build out. So aspects, I mean, it's up to you really. I use the Dash at this minute. Touch of Flame. Touch of Flame is definitely a top tier thing. The fragments that are going to help you out, Ember of Eruption. So your solar ignitions have increased area of effect. Because of Dawn Chorus, how it works, you're going to get plenty of ignitions because the Scorch is more. Incandescent's going to be scorching all those targets. So when you do get the ignition, it'll be have an increased area of effect. Like solar fulmination, very similar, but not a little bit different though. Ember of Torch is obviously for Radiant. Ember of Solace for doubled up, and Ember of Ashes, which you double you apply more Scorch stacks to targets, which stacks with Dawn Chorus, which is how you can get this Scorch setup really going, right? And then obviously you pair that with the Calus mini tool, the Incandescent, you're then doing more Scorch damage and all that stuff, right? So that's how that can synergize. In terms of a quick build I put together, so like I can use Solar Siphon because I've got a solar weapon on to match the solar subclass. High energy fire, elemental armaments, which means when we get a solar weapon kill, we get elemental wells. Grenade kickstart, overload SMG works on all enemies in the game, not just champs. So you can overload enemies and take less damage off them while you're using this SMG. So useful, right? So use it. In terms of the chest plate, I got Font of Wisdom on, so I get increased intellect when I'm picking up elemental wells, which is all the time. Elemental charge, so when we pick up a well, we get charge of light, thus high energy fire, which stacks with radiant. And I class restoration on here. So that's just showing you a quick synergistic build you can use. There's all sorts of different variations you can go down. I'm not here to sort of go down every route, just to give you like the base information and what I actually crafted on this. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.